Hello, this is the Golden Ribbon with another tutorial, and today we're going to be looking at the perspective pyramid. Now this is actually in conjunction with a request that I got on Google Plus from one of my followers and friends, a gentleman called Alex L. He said that he could do some tips on the perspective tools in Inkscape versus or in comparison or coming from Adobe Illustrator. Now I don't have an Adobe Illustrator installed on my machine. In fact, I've never opened it, I've never seen it, so I can't give a fair comparison between the respective tools. However, I can give a deep analysis on the perspective tools in Inkscape. And looking at this tutorial, it was actually a good study, because I did have a problem like this for a client recently, and it was giving me so much problems because I didn't know the perspective tools in Inkscape. I had to go to GIMP, and it worked out, but it was painstaking. But if I had known some of the controls in Inkscape, I think I would have had a better time. So thank you also for the request. I'll leave a link to his profile in the description. So let's get to it. I have my canvas and my colors to the right hand as always, and because of the nature of the project, there's going to be a lot of different shades of the same color. I put them out so that they're easier to follow, also with the anti-clockwise and the order 1, 2, 3, 4 that they come in. If this doesn't make sense to you now, then as you get into the tutorial it'll make more sense. I also have this to help me also with the perspective. So let's get into it. Now first you have to actually create some guides, and guides Inkscape feature. You can create a guide from the top or the left rulers right here by clicking and dragging down, and your guides will show. And click and drag and your guides will show. We're going to use the guides to help us with the perspective. I've already got my guides here, but as you click and bring them out, you can double click on them, and we're going to have two guides here. The first guide we're going to have with an angle of 18, and the second guide, when we double click, an angle of negative 60 degrees, and you get this cross here. Try to get your guides to look like this. Okay, once you have your guides like that, we're going to create a box. If I didn't mention, the canvas size is 700 pixels by 700, a perfect square. So I'm going to create a box. You can't see the box because it's the same color as the canvas. I'm going to press D. I'm going to select one of these colors so I can see it. Let me just remake the box now. Go into the rectangle tool on my toolbox, hold down Control and Shift. I want this box to be perfect. Left click and pull out on the canvas to create a perfect square. Okay, now that I've got a perfect square, I'm going to position the corner of the square right into the intersection of the two guides that I've created. Good. Then I'm going to use the skew. And to get access to skew, once you press on the box, you'll see your handles for scaling and also for moving. If you click one more time, you're going to see handles for rotation and for skew. Now I didn't know this feature actually until recently. It was actually my wife who taught me about this feature, and it has been useful ever since. So we're going to skew this box horizontally to the right, and you'll see the box starts to move. So first off, we're going to skew it vertically first. In fact, only vertically for now. And I'm going to try and get this line, get the horizontal line to match up with the horizontal guide as best as possible. I'm going to zoom in here just to get a better thing here. Let's go up, and I think that's about it. Yeah. I don't think you're going to get much better than that right now. And I'm going to push it up to the top. Okay. Push up to the top. Try and get the corners to meet again in that intersection. Okay, good. Next, I'm gonna change this to a path. So I'm gonna go into path, object to path, and we see we have nodes here instead of the rectangle controls. Okay, and then I'm gonna hold down my left click on the canvas, drag out with the left click to create this box to select the two nodes, and I'm going to manually shift these two nodes by just holding on one of them and pulling across. When I pull across, that gives me a square that's taking the perspective of the guides, and the guides are a bit hard to see. I'm going to change the canvas to a lighter gray so we can see the blue guides here. Alright, good. So when we see the two guys here, let's move on. We're going to add a pentagon, and for that we're going to go to the polygons and stars tool, click, drag. Now mine's already on a polygon, but when you go into yours, it's going to be on a star for default, so you have to go into the tools control box, that's with the star and polygon tool selected, and then select polygon here to your left. I'm going to give this polygon a different color, use the pink or purple, and I'm going to scale it, and then this horizontal right here, we're going to match this horizontal with the horizontal of the guide and of the box, and that looks good. That looks really good, and that should get you about an average horizontal. Then we're going to change this polygon into a path. We're going to do a path, object to path. You can also use Control Shift and C, and that will also change it to a path. Good. So we're going to put this, now we're going to go to a hierarchy and put this underneath the square. Then we're going to hold Shift, select the orange square, and then we're going to go into extensions. Extensions, modify path, perspective. We click perspective. It's going to cause the second shape, or the shape that's underneath, to take the perspective to the shape on top. Then we remove this square. We notice we get a polygon that looks a lot like the polygon in the preview, and that's looking nice. You can even scale that up a bit. So I'm gonna get rid of the guides. I can go into view, guides, and get rid of them. Also, if your view is not showing automatically, you show up here. Once it has a sticky, as a tick, they will show, and if it doesn't have the tick, it's not showing. You can toggle it on and off with Control Shift and the /. So let's change this back to the gray. We don't have any need for the box anymore, and let's get started on this thing here. So I'm gonna increase the size a little bit. In fact, let me decrease the size just a tad, move it to the left. This is gonna be our base polygon. We're gonna duplicate this, come down, let me change the base polygon to the blue. We're going to use the first blue here, so using only the first colors here for now, right? Then we're going to move on, set the second color, which is the fuchsia, on the 1, duplicate, carry it in. Then we're going to select the orange, duplicate, carry it in, and very last we're going to select the gold. Good. Now using this little tool that I have here, put this to the top, use this to help me to kind of position where each thing is supposed to go. So if I increase the size of it a bit, good, I'm going to see right here that the position for some of these has to move. Good, so I'm going to move this to the side a bit, help to match them up. Now, like always, I'll provide these tools, or these inside of the blog post, so don't feel left out, and you can actually do this thing exactly with me should you desire to use the exact amount of things. Good, so this will help me put it in place. That's roughly okay. Alright, excellent stuff. So I'm just going to save this. Let's duplicate the first one. We're going to create a shadow for this. I'm going to use the dropping tool. Well, I don't even need to. I can just click the color and then hierarchy, put it underneath. Control and F to go into my fill and stroke dialog box, and I'm going to increase a blur. Alright, I'm going to do the same for this. Duplicate, bring it down 3 steps, select the black, induce a blur, duplicate it, bring it down, and just see where it is. Yep, increase a blur, and that's it for now. So we have our blurs and our 4 sections looking really good. Now we're going to actually move into the coloring of these, of the pentagon. We're going to build it up. We're going to move on to the colors. So this is where the colors are coming in now, and we're going to move in an anti-clockwise direction. So if you can imagine, that's going to be this way from the original color. So this is the first side that I'm going to play about with. I'm going to play the triangle now, going to the top, coming down, going to across. Whoops, let's fix that triangle. Delete that extra node, highlight the 2 of them and straighten them. Okay, so we have this here. We're going to start with the bottom. S, duplicate, bring it down slightly so you can see this thing. Then I'm going to hold Control Shift and star, and this is the same thing as going to path and intersection while holding Shift to select both objects. I'm going to move this to the bottom, just below the last shadow, and I'm going to hold D to select for the dropper tool, and I'm going to select number 2 for the adjacent color. Good. Number 2 gives me this highlight. Next we're going to select the triangle, duplicate. Gonna go to the fuchsia now, duplicate it, hold Shift to hold the 2 of them, hold down Control Shift and star, which is the same as intersect. Go to the dropper tool, go to 2, select the fuchsia, bring it down. Good. I'm going to double duplicate the fuchsia, duplicate the orange now, hold Shift to control both of them, Control Shift and star. Right. And then I'm going to, on the second one, I'm going to select the orange, drop it. Good. Lastly, I'm going to duplicate this and also duplicate the last triangle, hold Control Shift and star. D for the color picker, pick the orange, and then we get the effect here, and we can see it's already creating this lovely 3D effect, and we're really just duplicating it for all of these sides. So I'm going to go into this one, see if we can go through it quickly, so I don't want to use any speed up for this. Right, create the triangle, again go to this side here, duplicate, bring it down 1, intersect, 1, 2, 3, 4, good. And then we're going to move on to 3 now, which is you. Duplicate it, select the fuchsia, duplicate the fuchsia, Shift to hold both, Control Shift and star, deselect the adjacent fuchsia, bring it down, duplicate, get the orange, Control Shift and star, D. I'm going to use the 3, bring it down. But lastly, duplicate this, select the 2 of them, Control Shift and star, color dropper on the third one, select the gold. Good. So we see it's taking the colors. Now if you can create these colors for yourself. It just took me a bit of time to get the right color combination. So if you want to use mine, you can. You don't have to if you don't want to. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next one. Create another triangle. And a lot of these times you can zoom in to get the most accurate triangle. Because this is a tutorial and I don't want it to go too long, I'm not zooming in so much to get the most accurate representation of the shades, but you can go ahead and do that. Good, so we have it here. I'm going to select this, duplicate it, bring it down, Control Shift and star, bring it down to the bottom. Good. And then I'm going to press D, and I'm going to move on to the fourth one, if I'm correct. Yeah, the fourth one. Good, so the light source is really coming from this direction. Then I'm going to select it, D, select the fuchsia. Good. Select both of them and Control Shift and star, go to the fourth one, select the fuchsia. Just save that. Control Shift and D, Control Shift and D with the orange, fuchsia and orange. Select the both of them, Control Shift and star to intersect. D for the color dropper, we're going to go to 4, bring it down. Lastly, duplicate both of them, select the 2 of them. Gonna go to the star, gonna go down to the 4, select the lightest orange. Alright, then lastly, because I only have 4 of them, because this next side is gonna take the same sort of shade as this side right here, so we're gonna use what this was. So this was 1, 2, so I'm gonna use number 2 on this side. Create our triangle. Looks a bit off down here. Let me see if I can adjust it a bit. Okay, adjust it a bit. Alright then, so I'm going to select this triangle, bring it underneath, Control Shift and star. Whoopsie. Alright, D, I'm going to go to number 2, select number 2, bring it down to the bottom. Alright, good. Bring it down to the bottom now. Then I'm going to duplicate it, duplicate the fuchsia, select the 2 of them, Control Shift and star, press D, go to 2, select the fuchsia, bring it down. Excellent. Duplicate the orange, duplicate them both, Control Shift and star to intersect them, then select the orange on 2. Okay, and lastly, I'm going to duplicate the orange, duplicate the gold, but I can get the gold to highlight. Oops. Duplicate the gold, intersect the 2, go to 2, select the gold. Alright, then we have it now, and we have our pentagon looking really nice now. Okay, we're gonna add a highlight just to increase the realism of this thing. So I'm gonna select this side because it's where the original side was, duplicate, and I'm going to carry it down and then just stretch it out. I want it to come below the shadow. Good. Then I'm going to hold D and I'm going to select the lightest of these sides. Good. Stretch it in a bit. Lightest of these sides. Let's see how it looks. I think that's okay. Good. I'm going to do the same for this. Bring it down. Make sure it's below the shadow. Stretch out. Good, this looks below the shadow. Needs to go down one more though. Whoops. I'll go up one more. Good, so I'm going to select the lightest fuchsia, which is number 4. Drag it in a bit. Right, I'm going to go down to the fuchsia now for the last one. Duplicate, stretch it out. I'm going to bring it down now. Good. Alright, it's below the shadow. And I'm going to go D, select the lightest blue, which is number 4. And then just about with it until you get the style that you're looking for. Okay, let's take off the guides. Let's zoom out so that we can see what we have. And we got a very beautiful Pentagon pyramid there. And now we're going to move into the actual text. Good. I use a text in this one called keep calm. Let's type out something. Perspective. Right. Highlight all of it. Let's go keep calm. And I'm going to use a light gray. Bring it down so that we see it. Duplicate, and I'm going to use this next one, which is pyramid, providing I can spell. I know I can't. Alright, so we have perspective pyramid here, and we're gonna skew this until we get it to look like our guide. So we're gonna bring up our guides again, hold down Shift//. It could be backslash, it's one of the two. Alright, so we're gonna move, let's skew this thing up so it matches the of this. Let's bring this down to different colors so you can see. So it matches the horizontal slant. Good. Now we just want the vertical to match this. So I'm gonna bring it down a bit. Right. I think that's a little close. That's close. And then I'm going to rotate it now until you get it. And this looks like it matches it a bit. Does it match? We can go a little bit more, and then just rotate it to get what you're looking for. Okay, I think that's it. Alright, so I'm going to carry the perspective over here, and I'm going to duplicate. Instead of just changing the pyramid, I'm going to duplicate it. Let's type pyramid here. One of the beauties of the perspective in and using the skew tool in Inkscape is that it modifies the shape, but you can still type. You can still play about with that shape. You don't have to change it to a path in order to skew it. Let's take out the path, see if it looks okay. Yeah, this looks alright. It's not bad at all. You can still type with it and everything, so it's a very handy tool. And I'm gonna duplicate this now, carry this down, and change this back to the gray. Right. And I want some small text inside this. I'm gonna go to this, and I'm gonna change it to like 12. And this is good. And put some gibberish inside there. And I'm gonna use the Inkscape Lorem Ipsum Greek gibberish to fill in this text. So let's go into extensions, text, Lorem Ipsum. I'm just going to use the default, apply, close. Alright, it's putting its own text. Let's just bring it down to 12. I suppose I can bring it down a little lower. Less than 12, let's try 10. Okay, this looks good. This looks really good. And it's gonna make all of this white. Good, so we have this here. I suppose I could even make this even smaller. Awesome stuff. And that's how we get the text to follow the skew. So right now I'm just gonna go and add the other elements to this, just to finish this. Right, coming down, I'm gonna add the icons from what I created earlier. Copy and scope. So as now, you know, we're just in the beautification stage of things. So it's nothing you haven't seen. Again, if you want the icons, I'll leave them in the description. I know I didn't leave these ones in the previous one description, but I think I'm gonna create the icon set and just leave it for persons to use. There's only a few more that I want to add to it. I've already skewed these so that they look like they fit on the actual pyramid. Good, so we have our icons. We just change this to capital letter perspective pyramid. Let's add a little gradient here. Go ahead, change it to radial, and I'm going to use a lighter gray. There we are, that looks good. Or I can flip it, use the lighter gray, and out here use the deeper gray. Okay then, so we have our perspective pyramid. Oh yes, there's one more thing that I want to add. Let me go quickly and see if I can get it to add. Open recent Infographic. Nope, you won't open recent space tutorial. Get my logo and finish it. It's not complete without my logo, you have to understand, you know? It would just be criminal if I didn't include my logo. Okay, I think in the bottom I had a border too, but that's okay. Let's zoom it out. Okay, this is my perspective pyramid tutorial. I hope it helped you. I'll try and do some more perspective tutorials because I think I had a lot of fun with this one. As always, just check my blog to get the color hexadecimals for the colors, and also check it for the icons. The font I used is Keep Calm. I'll leave a link in the blog. I'll leave a link, and then I'll leave a link to the blog in the description. If you have any tutorials that you'd like to see happen, you know, you can contact me. I may not be able to answer all of them, but I'll definitely consider you once you send a message. And if I get enough messages on the same topic, then I'll take a look at it. Alright then, so this is me out. Design a new dawn. There.